Can you hear me on that end? Good, head down. Yeah, perfect. It's going to be a few minutes of letting everybody into the meeting here, which should be a multiplier of 60, 70, I think, maybe tonight. You see everybody on? Seeing some familiar names, which is kind of fun. So as you're jumping on here, just know that we're going to just take a minute here to get everybody into the room. We're about a third of the way there now. Now we'll get started shortly. My grid looks much larger than the Brady Bunch. I don't know if you guys remember that show. It's got everybody coming in muted. So we'll, as you're coming in, just make sure your mics are muted. What we're going to do is have everybody, just hold questions until the end, and that'll be a lot easier to do.
Hey, Mom.
So just another minute here. We're doing pretty good here. Got 30, 40, almost 40 in here now, which is good. Seeing everybody in one place, this is kind of fun. Okay. If you're just jumping on, you're wondering why I'm staring at the screen. I'm just letting everybody into the meeting. I didn't automatically allow people to join, so I have to do it manually here. It's a lot of stick clicking here, but okay. I think we'll, right, 30, 32, we're getting there. I think we'll start at 7:02. So if you want to, we're actually 7:03. We'll start. I'm at 7:01 now. So if you want to do anything for 2 minutes, you can do that. We'll start in just a minute. If you want to get your kids situated. I'm starting to slow down a little bit. So I am recording this too. So if you've got to jump off for whatever reason, you missed something or whatever happens, I am going to record this thing. I'm going to attempt to anyway, so we can review this later through a YouTube link or something like that. Hey, I see a player in there. Is that a Cougar Cub there? Okay. Okay. All right, it's starting to slow down a little bit now. So we'll just start here in just a minute, and then we'll rock and roll here. Still coming in. Okay, we're getting there. I think we should get started. Yeah, we're just, okay, so got one more coming in here. Okay, so, all right, so I'm Tom Schoolmeesters. Thank you, everybody, for jumping on. I appreciate it. I'm the Mike Director of Centennial Youth Hockey, and it's my first year. So a lot of you, maybe some first-year hockey families, you're not alone. So first time as a Mike Director, but I've got a 20-year-old son. So just a little background. My family is two children. I've got a 20-year-old son who played hockey through the program, and now I have a 6-year-old who's on a C-Mike team. So my little family, and one's in college and one's in first grade. So it's kind of a spread there, but usually get a lot of jokes at the local watering holes. People laugh at me about that. But anyway, so here we are starting Cougar Cubs. This is the most exciting time of the year. I tell you what, we got all the other teams going, and now I can devote 100% of my time on the Cougar Cubs, which is, I've been looking forward to this part of all summer and fall here. I'm still letting people in, sorry. What I'm going to do here is just talk for a little bit. Obviously, the introduction, you've got that. But I have two great head coaches. They are the red team is Rob Rousseau, and the black team is Steve Lewis. Rob, I think, has one. I didn't get the whole family dynamics, but Rob has, I think, one child coming through the program, and Steve has 4 children actively in the hockey program right now, and they're all at different levels. So if you can imagine how nerve-wracking this is getting your child going, just have a little sympathy for Steve, because he's got it times 4. So it's a lot of fun talking to Steve about his day. I like to just go up to Steve and just say, hey, how's your day going? So it's a lot of fun. But anyway, so we've had some great discussions this week, and we're ready to rock and roll with this thing. So what I'm going to do is I converted all of our handouts. So normally we would be face-to-face, and I would be asking you guys, show a hand, do this, have fun, who's excited for hockey, who played hockey, and all that. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to do all the canned fun things that we do with the parents that are just starting out. But we'll try to see you at the rink, and you can always feel free to call me, and we can get to know each other through multiple ways. And everybody's dealing with the same thing we are now with the COVID stuff. But at least know that I'm about the most accessible person there is. You guys want to talk about anything at any time, concerns, whatever, as we get into the season here, you call me anytime, whether it's day or night. I typically answer the phone or a text or whatever. So, and I'll leave my contact information for everybody here. So, all right. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to share my screen, and it's going to just be a deck that we can all look at here and go through here. So let's see if we can start this guy. Sorry, slideshow from the start. All right, let's get this out of my way here. Okay, let me see if I can get this thing out of my way. There it is. Just trying to move my screen so I can see what's going on here. All right, so our content today is our welcome and introductions. I talked a little bit about myself. Again, I'm Tom Schoolmeesters, the Mike Director, and you're looking at the grid, but I'm this guy, the one with the hat on and the fancy Centennial shirt. Our coaches, again, black team, Steve Lewis, red team, Rob Rousseau, and a bunch of other awesome assistants. A lot of them, which I'm fortunate to say are all in the program, and we got some newer ones that have all got hockey experience, and we're super excited for all of them to get going and whatnot. So the team websites, you'll see, we'll talk a little bit about this, the iCals and WebCals. Some of you are familiar with internet webcals, some may not. It's pretty easy to follow these, and they just automatically load into your calendar, so you don't ever have to write down your child or your grandchild's schedule, whoever's on the meeting here. So key dates, there's not many for Cougar Cubs, but District 10 is the district that we're in for Centennial Hockey, and there's some policies that I'm not going to go through those. I'm just going to tell you where to go if you're interested in looking at those and to see what they are and what it all entails. You can go and look at all that. The COVID-19 screening and expectations, obviously we had it was, we'll call it a late registration year. Our teams really bloomed into 2 teams right towards the end, primarily because we can't have more than 50 people on the ice at any given time. So we had to go with 2 separate teams, or sessions, we'll call them. And it got a little, we right out of the gate, we had to advert from the times that we had posted. We had to now come up with additional ice time and things like that. So we'll talk a little bit about COVID-19, the screening, and what those expectations are of the families and the players and the coaches and all that stuff. And the handouts that we give out, the parent information and expectations, typically they're only 2 sheets of paper, And then we spend a lot of time talking questions, getting through those questions and making sure everybody's comfortable and things like that. And quite honestly, we normally do these at the first practice. And I didn't care for that the last couple of years because you can't be out watching your child on the ice while we're doing this. And there's only 12 sessions, so we want you to see every moment you can at the rink. So I decided to host this on Zoom, and it seems like it's going to go pretty well here. So I am going to just pause, and then of course any additional help that we're looking for, we're going to talk about that in a minute here. I am going to pull this up here 1 second. I think I have participants in the waiting room. Sorry, I saw it pop up, so I just wanted to make sure everybody was in before I kept going here. Okay, so that's, and then wrap up with a question and answering session at the end. Our introductions again. This is just, I'm going to email this deck out. I'm going to try to prepare this in a PDF format so you can actually use this as well. It'll be, you got the coaches there, of course, and then it does list the assistant coaches. So the black team has Jake Swanson, who has multiple kids in the program. Sam McPhee, I think, has just one. Jake Kriegler has a couple kids. Derek Sunseth, he's got a couple girls. Mike Spangenberg, he's, I think, a brand new family. I don't think he has any older kids. But Naomi Schmeck is a Centennial High School grad and one of the girls' varsity players, as well as Christine Peck. These two are coming back, and they want to be a part of the program, which I'm super excited for because they were on such successful teams for our girls' side, and they're going to be great role models for the female athletes as well as the boys. And then Matt Fenno is on here as well. The red team has Noah Wendorf, who's got multiple kids in the program, Jared Jokala, Jimmer Moses, Jen Jones. Again, Miss Jen has a couple daughters, and she's very active coach, and we appreciate everything she does. John Trigstad, Mike Underwood, and Bernie Berry, who has a couple boys at the D level as well. So they've been around the program a little bit. So these are our awesome staff so far, and then we are looking for more, and we'll talk a little bit about that as we move on here. The iCals and the website calendars. These you'll be able to get this from your coach if you haven't already, but these are pretty slick. You can the link that's on the top here is literally our website, our centennialhockey.org page, and that'll take you to your team, and you can see all the fun stuff that we have out on the team pages, and as well as the calendar. It shows the visual calendar there as well. The web cal, though, when you click this link, it pulls into your calendar of choice, and you can see all of the events for your team inside here. So the red team has one, and then the black team has one here. So just check my host thing here. Yep. Okay. Okay. And yeah, so those will come to you if you haven't seen those yet. Those will be coming soon. The key dates, the sessions obviously start this Sunday. I just threw the 3 dates that we don't have Cougar Cub hockey, and some of it's related to tournaments that we're doing at Super Rink or at the at Centennial Sports Arena. These are just 3 dates that are not in the calendar. So if you're looking to plan out your winter and holiday stuff or whatever, these are just the dates that you'll see are not scheduled. So don't be alarmed. There's not Cougar Cubs this day. Jerseys and socks, those are going to be handed out on Sunday. And I went ahead and got helmet stickers as well for the kiddos. We're going to put some Cougar stickers on their helmets so they know who they play for, and it'll be a lot of fun. Usually we talk about November being our picture month. With the COVID-19 situation and, just the number of people in one area and too close to each other, things like that, we are on hold. It's not all our doing or our decision. The photographers and companies that we use they're not doing a whole lot of this right now. They're doing school pictures, and I'm not sure, quite honestly, how they did all that. But we just right now we've got blindsided with this, and we don't have a plan at this point. But it does on the board. We're talking about possibly having these companies come out at one of your practices, which automatically divides it in half. Which we normally would have all the Cubs show up for one big old picture, and then 2. Obviously you can do some different things when they come to your practice. You can have more specific pictures if there's less kids and things like that. So more to come on the pictures and those types of things. I talked a little bit at the top of the hour here about District 10 policies. This is the link that'll take you directly to the district that we play in, which is 10. The main ones that we talk a lot about and they're ever so changing as well. Really all of this listed here, I'm not trying to scare everybody here, but these are just things that we try to follow really closely. The first one and most important one that we seem to get flagged on a lot is kids or parents or coaches having phones or iPads or any sort of technology, any sort of devices inside the locker room. Unfortunately, we just can't do that anymore with the safety of children and just privacy of children and things like that. We've got mixed teams, we've got females and males, and it's just gone to the point where we, at the older levels, the traveling levels, we take phones and put them in a bucket. The manager walks out of the arena with them and they give them back afterwards. And at the little ones, we're just worried about the parents and the coaches not having their phones out. Rescheduling policy is more for games, but code of conduct, locker room monitoring, mixed gender teams, zero tolerance policy, these types of things, really what we're worried about, I think, out of this is just mixed gender teams. If there's families, if we get back to allowing ourselves to be in the rink a little longer than the few minutes that they're letting us now, we try to be conscious of the gender related concerns. Sorry, I got another one coming in the waiting room here. So allowing a place for, if we have two locker rooms, we can have even the females in one locker room and males in the other. We need to present that. So if there's a concern with that, we ask that the parents talk to the coaches about that sort of thing. But anyway, just this list of policies is just there. And I encourage people, if you're concerned or interested in how they handle stuff as a brand new family. I remember when 20 years ago, they didn't have a website that had all this stuff on it, but you know what? Every day, more and more stuff is out there for us to go look at. And I think it's great. We don't have to write all the notes down and all this stuff anymore. We don't have to have a whole bunch of handouts at our meetings. It's all out there. If there's certain things that you're concerned about, you can go to those pages and find that. So that's District 10. And a lot of this, again, the district presidents and just the whole district board, they go to meetings once a month as well as our
volume off on here.
1 second there. Got one. Okay, sorry. I just had to. I'm asking everybody stay muted until the end here. So, yeah, basically, lost my train of thought. So, yeah, just these policies. We get together every month. The Centennial Board gets together every month, and we look at things that change. And right now, of course, it's everything about COVID-19, and we're trying to stay on the front line of that and make sure we respect all the USA Hockey and Minnesota Hockey as well down to the district level, what their expectations are of not only us as a board, but you as players and families. So we'll talk more about that. But so COVID-19, I just wanted to get right into that. A lot of parents called with a lot of concerns this year. One, are we going to have hockey? I have a 4-year-old that wants to play hockey. What are we going to do here? And I'm like, well, yes, we've been, USA Hockey's approved the year and they're going to sanction the year of hockey for us. So right out of the gate, we've been planning as a normal year. About July, I think we started seeing our first set of restrictions and things that we could and could not do. And it started opening our eyes a little bit to the fact that we're in July talking about what we're going to do in October. And we were seeing a really long list of things, but you know what, after a little bit of time in the meeting rooms and talking to all the different associations and districts and things like that, we've got a pretty good handle on how we're handling it. And we really like to think that hockey is one of the better sports, even though it's indoors. The thing with hockey, if you were to compare it, let's just compare it to, let's say, some other winter sports like basketball or fall sports like football. You get 11 players on the field in football, and the other 30 or 40 are standing on the sidelines while that, whether it's offense or defense, are on the field. Well, those 30 people are standing next to each other, probably talking to one another. And with all the COVID concerns, you can imagine how that is how they're seeing the spread of it amongst themselves. basketball, similarly, they've got 5 players on the boards, right? They're the rest of their team sitting on the sidelines waiting to go in, right? So they're dealing with the same thing as football, soccer. A lot of kids on the sideline. Hockey is a different sport, and the reason why I say that is because if you think of it as a traveling level, you got kids sitting on the ice for a minute and a half, and they're jumping off the ice and letting the next group go up because they're tired. They're overexerting themselves for that minute and a half. How does that relate to Cougar Cubs? Well, we're going to keep the kids moving. That's really what it comes down to. We try to keep the kids moving because we're trying to teach them how to skate first and foremost, but we're not going to have them sitting in a group, for longer than 30 seconds. I'm throwing a number out there. I mean, it's not going to be 15 minutes, which is the concerning time for droplets and things like that to try to make their way into another player or whatever. But so I'll stop there just to give you a little high level of how we've thought about this and why we have a good position with hockey to keep the kids moving. Obviously, we want water bottles to be labeled, and we'll talk about that later. We don't want somebody to show up with one bottle and have every kid drink water out of that bottle. So we ask that you bring your own water bottles and make sure those are labeled, and we'll talk about that here at the end. So, okay, so COVID-19 and screening and temp readings. I'm just going to give you what I know, which is how we're doing it at the other levels, and talk a little bit about what it is and where and how and all this other good stuff. But so when are we doing these? Essentially at every team event. So for you guys, the Cougar Cubs, we've got 12 sessions. And if you do other things outside of that, that's up to your coaches. But we're not expecting you guys to do anything but show up on Sundays for Learn to Skate Cougar stuff. But so what we're doing is we're taking temperatures and we're filling out a questionnaire before every event. So I got one more here coming in. Sorry. Okay, there we go. And so where are these screenings? So basically, the questions are available through a link. And this link is a Google shared doc that is broken down by the team level. So for instance, you get a link from your coach and you click this link and you go through the series of questions that are listed, and we'll talk about these. And they're nothing different than what you're used to seeing and answering today, whether you go to the doctor or you're on the phone with somebody, whatever. But the temperature checks are going to be something that's done at the team level, where the questionnaire is going to be done at the player and the family level. We're hoping that you can fill that out prior to coming to the event on Sunday. You can do that. We try to say don't do that more than a couple hours before the event, so you kind of remembering all of it at the same time. Because what it does is it goes out and writes the line on a Google Doc, a Google spreadsheet for us, and then we can track it that way that you answer these questions. And then simply when you show up at the arena, you're just going to get a temperature check, and we're hoping that's done by our team manager, which we have yet to identify for each team yet. But the team manager will simply just check all the temperatures of the kids coming in, and then that in conjunction with the link, the questionnaire that you fill out, is all we're expecting our families to do, and it seems to be working pretty well at the other levels. We're just getting going with the B, C, and D levels. They're about a week behind the A's and whatnot, and the traveling side. But we're all learning. We're all trying to get this done, and it seems to be going pretty well, and we're going to get better every day with it. But what's going to happen here, as you'll see, I'll go to the next slide here. Why are we doing this? So, it's required by USA Hockey, Minnesota Hockey, D10, and CYHA, which is Centennial Youth Hockey Association. We also feel that it's necessary for us all to own the opportunity to return to play to hockey. So the return to play hockey is kind of that's the model we've been going with. This is our right to play hockey, our privilege to play hockey, but we've got to follow a few rules. And then, the other thing here is, this is the best way that we can track everyone and be as healthy as we can while working through this pandemic. It will also help us track and trace where necessary in case of an outbreak. For example, I had a call earlier from a child on a team from a family that their child was indirectly exposed. So what does that mean? Well, we have a whole decision tree, and I'm going to provide this to your coaches and your managers. When and if something comes up, you can decide based on this decision tree if it's a direct case, if it is a player, at what time frame throughout the week do we necessarily need to contact everybody? There's a whole timeline process that we're going to follow, and I'm going to be there to assist the teams with all of this. I've had one today. It was an indirect case. The sister of a player was exposed. The whole family's quarantined, but they are the team is not directly affected because the symptoms didn't start until after the practice of the team that the player was on. So in that case, we we don't want to call it lucky, but we were able to not shut down the team's activities for 14 days, which in our case for Cougar Cubs, it would be, we'd probably have to miss one session, which, we've got some ice at the end of February. If we do get into a situation where, we lose in a week or two because of something related to COVID, I'm going to look to get those extra sessions provided back to the families and teams. So anyway, back to the form here. How to complete the form. It really is this simple. There's a link. You click it. You type the first name of the player and the last name. We can't pre-populate these because the form works as such where you fill it out, you complete it. And then the questions are simple. A fever of 100.4 or less, chills, a new cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, new muscle aches, new headache, loss of smell. It's super fun to ask the kids these questions because they look at you like this and they don't know what to say. It's super cute, but we're trying to take this as serious as possible. So we really want the families to own this. And if there's any yeses in here, we're asking that you don't participate in that event. So all of this is taking place as close to the front door as we can. So we don't have a player in a locker room getting a temperature in there, but they're coughing on their player next to them. We want to do all this at the front. If there's anything, we're not asking the managers or the coaches to police this. We want the families to own it, and then we kind of move on from there. But at the end of those questions, you click submit, and it launches it out to the Google Doc, and we have the whole record of it, and we'll be able to track the whole thing and trace any instances that, if there's people, we're not relying on that 100% as attendance. We are going to reach out to the whole team. If they were at a practice, if something were to happen, we'd want to watch for symptoms or these types of things. And you'll see a lot of that interaction from me supporting your teams. So that's that part. The auditing, like I mentioned, we have the doc to look at. The managers and or the COVID managers. We can handle this two ways. We can do a team manager that doesn't do COVID-19 duties, but I think it might be easier if we can just get maybe a couple managers for each team, and they both kind of handle the duties of what it takes to get the Cougar Cubbers off the ground here. But you have a doc also in there that you can go out and see if every family has completed that daily event questionnaire. And that's a great way. And then I have access to all those docs as well as our president and our District 10 representative. So they're going to go out and pop out and look at these to make sure that everybody's filling these out to ensure that we're following the safety, the guidelines and the safety of the kids and whatnot. The Mike Director or President, yeah, I talked a little bit about this already. So next slide. So our housekeeping really is COVID-19. So I'm getting into some things. There's just a lot on here, but basically what it comes down to is we're asking you to dress your player at home. We don't ask you to dress them outside when it's 20 below zero in the dead of winter here, but we are asking that you dress your player at home with everything except skates, helmets, and gloves, because we're only allowing 15 minutes prior to ice time for you to come into the rink. And I think a lot of that is going to be tied up with the COVID-19, the checks and all that stuff, especially the first week or two, getting in and coming up with that rhythm of how do we get in and get ready to go. But if you can get even skates on with guards, the solid guards that they can walk on. Some kids can't walk with skates on yet, and I totally get that. Whatever you're comfortable with, just try to slim it down to just having them dressed in everything but your skates, helmet, and gloves. That's all we can ask for that. And then after practice, the rules are the arenas have their own sets of rules, and they are asking that we are out of the arena in 5 to 10 minutes, which is going to be, I thought about this with the Cougar Cubbers, and I just thought, how are we going to do this? Half the kids are going to be trying to find their stuff for the first 10 minutes getting off the ice, but we're just trying to follow it where we're trying to get to that targeted time the best we can. So we're just saying, hey, look, get skate guards and head out of the rink. It's easier for the kids that have played a little bit longer, and you've got other kids that are super excited. They don't want to take their stuff off yet because they're having so much fun out there with Coach Rob and Coach Steve and all the other ones. But anyway, just bear with us there as we try to, again, only allow 15 minutes. So you can't enter the arena until 15 minutes prior to the ice time. So if you go walking up to the door, there's going to be somebody sitting there asking you, what team are you on and what are you here for? They're going to say Cougar Cubs, Centennial Cougar Cubs. They're going to say, you can't come in for 15 more minutes. So that would be your time to go out to the car and dress your player in the car or whatever you want to do. So thank you for that. Trying to follow that. It's hard for all of us. I've got a 6-year-old and I cannot get him dressed in 5. We try to practice this and I cannot get him dressed in 15 minutes. It takes, for whatever reason, we just putz around and we laugh and we joke around about hockey, whatever. And it's inevitable. It's 12 minutes to 15 minutes every time. And there's no time to get a temperature check with that. So believe me, I struggle with it on my own here. So, so the other things is we can't have, I'll just say we can only allow one parent in the rink at any given time with your player. There are some exceptions, obviously, if there's a parent that has the siblings or the other kids and the spouse or whatever is busy with something. We understand that and exceptions will be made for that, but we can't have like grandma and grandpa show up, and we can't have aunts and uncles and cousins and neighbors and older, siblings. We unfortunately are dealing with this pandemic has got a little bit of handcuffs presented here, but we're trying to, present it as such that you can stagger it, have mom bring them this week, dad next week, grandma 1 week, whatever, however it fits for your family. At least understand that the kids are in good hands, and hopefully one of you can stay there for the whole hour and not drop them off with us to take care of them the whole hour, and you guys all head to the local pub. But no, we're excited to have at least one parent out there with us in the rink. But as things change, things could change in the next couple months. It could get worse. It could get better. We don't know. We're just trying to be fluid with it and follow the rules. So we'll come back to that a little bit. I call it housekeeping, but have patience as these rules, exceptions, and guidelines that we're being asked to follow. We're doing everything that we can to follow these guidelines and be able to keep these kiddos on the ice and participating in hockey throughout this pandemic. And then we just need your cooperation with this. And lastly, testing positive. We talked a little bit about this already. If your player tests positive for COVID-19 anytime throughout the season, especially right after participating in a Cougar Cub session, please notify me as I will need to follow the MDH, which is Minnesota Department of Health, and CDC decision tree, which is something I'll provide to everybody. So you guys have this tree as well to track and trace the players that might have been exposed indirectly or even directly to notify the families of that exposure. It is an algorithm, but just understand that it's a necessity for us to remain on the ice because they're not all shut down situations. And we're going to keep your family's names anonymous and private because it's not legal for us to provide that, but we obviously will get the notification from you, so we'll know who it is. However, we're just trying to make sure all the families are aware of what's going on here and how this all works. So that's that. So now on to the fun stuff. This is what we hand out at our meetings normally. So we'll get into this fun stuff here now. So the overview of mites, Cougar Cubs. What is A through D, U8? What does all this mean? Okay, well, Cougar Cubs is defined as having little or no skating experience at all. We're saying bring your kids to the rink. If they love hockey or skating, bring them to the rink. If they don't know how to do it yet, we're going to make sure they learn how to do that throughout the winter. D level requirement. If you think your child is, I signed up for Cubs, but I should probably be at the D level. Well, here's what I'm just giving some general guidelines here, but they must be able to skate forward, and that's at a reasonable pace without assistance. Now we say within 6 to 8 seconds halfway up the ice. So if they start at the goal line, they should be able to make it to the other end or to the red line in 6 to 8 seconds. If they can't do that without assistance, they should be playing Cougar Cubs. That's where you guys are all at. So if you have a child that's skating circles around you and can get to the red line already in 6 to 8 seconds, we should be talking about having them placed on a D level team. But C level, skate forward smoothly They need to skate backward at a reasonable rate without assistance and able to stop in at least one direction. So they usually pick their favorite foot and they start stopping that way, or a snowplow stop as well. They've learned that. We'll be teaching the kids that at the Cougar Cub level, as well as one and other foot stops. B level and U8 level requirement, that's all of the above, plus skate backwards smoothly and able to perform forward crossovers, and they're able to stop in at least one direction. A level requirements, all the above, plus able to stop in both directions, able to perform backward crossovers. So that kind of gives so for the next 4 years, if you've got a 4-year-old, you might be able to squeak in a 5th year if you want. But think about the next 5 years. What is going to happen with your child in the next 5 years? The answer is a lot. They're going to learn all kinds of stuff with their edges, inside, outside edges, forward, backward part of the edge, how to balance core work. There's just a lot going on with learning how to skate on blades. And if you don't have experience with it, at least know that you've got a whole bunch of coaches that do. So rest assured there. Okay, the format for Cougar Cubs. It will seem, not even seem, it will be chaos at first. And if you think it's going to run smoothly the first couple of weeks, I want you to come and stand there with me and show me how that works, because every year we do this, it is complete chaos at first, trying to just figure out how to get all of the kids on the ice for the first 20, 30 minutes that first day. That's the funnest part, because quite honestly, that is the most exciting part. Get the kids from hanging on to your leg because they're scared or they're nervous or they're whatever, happy. Well, now they're scared, now they're crying, now whatever. It's okay. It's all a part of the chaos. We're going to get them quickly grouped up into 3 groups. And we try to do this. And again, it's because we want them to develop at the right rate. So how do we do this? We define them as, and we're just trying to get a group here. So the no standers and the no skating, those are typically your brand new skaters that have never been on skates. Those will have, in this case, they're going to have a pink sticker put on their helmet right out of the gate. If there's some standers and some scooters and they get around a little bit, and we're going to put a yellow sticker on their helmets. And if they're skaters, they can get around a little bit, but they're 4 years old and they just need a little bit more work. We're going to put a green sticker on their helmets. So our goal is to get all of the kids in the green by the end of the year. And our coaches are fully aware of how we do this, and it works out the best because we have all of these coaches, these awesome coaches are standing around and they want to know what to do. Well, you know what? Right out of the gate, you take it down to 3 stations, and you've got kids that can't stand, they can't skate, they need help, they need smiles, they need everything from encouragement to, everything you can think of to make sure they're having fun. We'll have more coaches in that group. And then you've got the standers and scooters, the kids that can get around a little bit. There'll be a few coaches in that group. And then down with the skaters, there'll be a little bit less coaches there, because those coaches they're not necessarily holding the kids up. They're actually working a drill. They're setting cones up for the kids to start skating a little bit. And we are going to have all different levels on both teams, and it's just how it's going to be. And you guys can all, I'm sure you're sitting there smiling. I can't see you all right now because I got you minimized, but I'm sure you can imagine where your child is at or children are at and how that's all going to look. It's just, it's super fun that first few weeks. So some of you think, okay, are we going to use those walkers, those little skating tutors that you see at the rinks? No, we're not going to use those. And here's why. We took a poll. We've been taking polls about this for years and years and years. And hockey players all agree that it prolongs the ability for them to learn how to skate if they're hanging on to something like a walker or a tutor. If you think about it as, if you walk with a cane or a walker, but you can walk, why would you hang on to one of those? That's kind of the concept there. We just want to get them on their 2 blades and let them go. That's 1 blade each skate. So if you have 2 blades, we're even encouraging you to buy hockey skates that have just single blades. So I didn't even put that on here, but so that's that line. These games, the format really is providing games that will keep the kids moving. In this case, we're going to try to keep them spread out as we can and develop the basic needs and skills for good edge work. You're going to see a lot of obstacle courses, cone drills, passing, shooting, just fun type stuff. And that's what this is all about at Cougar Cubs. The attendance, there's 35, we'll rough it at 35. You don't have to. You're not required to email the head coach or manager if your player be absent. It's not like they're playing left wing on the first line and they're on the PP and PK, which is power play and penalty kill. Coach doesn't need to know if they're going to be gone at this level because they're going to have all their hands full trying to just keep the kids they have out there busy and whatnot. So, and then, of course we say, please try to make all of the practices to maximize the opportunity for your player. If they're going to progress, that's the way you do it. You get them to as many as you can. We don't charge a whole lot for Cougar Cubs. You look around the associations, some of our neighboring associations, and they charge between $200, $300, $400 to play hockey at this level. And we don't do that. Quite honestly, we just try to neutral the cost of the ice time, and we have all of our awesome volunteers out there helping with it. So that's that. Equipment, we are requiring them to be in full gear. That's the only way to learn how to play the right way, is to have shin guards, breezers, supporter, pelvic protectors, shoulder pads, elbow pads, gloves, helmet, mouth guard, stick, and skates. The best day for a family is to put that mouth guard in for the first day and try to hear them talk. We will not understand them the whole season. It's so fun to just try to hear them talk, and it's just a whole nother level. But the sticks, I like to give parents a quick heads up on sticks. Some of you hockey players understand this, but when you buy a stick, and at this age, you don't need a stick if it's left or right. You don't have to worry about that so much. Get a stick in their hands. It could be a straight stick, a wood stick from wherever, Play It Again. You got Letterman's, all the stores around town, Athletic Outfitters. They all have sticks. You should measure that stick from when you have the blade on the ice, the top of the stick should come up to their nose. And when you put them on the skates, we want it down between kind of the chin and the lip area, underneath their nose. So that's so for sticks, that's a little description there. So CYHA also, we provide a jersey, and I said already, a pair of socks and stickers. We're going to give the kids stickers, Cougar stickers. Some of this deck is applied to the other levels too, but our coaching philosophy really for Cougar Cubs is to have fun and be safe, first and foremost, and then, provide a positive and encouraging environment for these kids. Learning to skate to progress to Mite D or above. Of course, if they can go from Cougar Cubs, which we have 3 of them this year that went from Cougar Cub to C-level hockey. They didn't even play D hockey. They evaluated. They did such a good job last year. Our coaches did such a great job getting them to a level where they develop better at Mite C. So there is a chance that your player could go from Cougar Cubs to C, because we've had 3 of them this year. And it's been fun to analyze the numbers when we do our testing at the beginning of the year. We do HEP testing, HEP testing, and it's a series of drills that we have all the kids do, and we time them. So then we can get a general idea where these kids are at, so we can divide the teams up evenly to make sure that when we draft our teams, they have skilled kids that are in a higher or lower spectrum, so we can balance all the teams out. So that's a great slide. Our pictures, we talked about this. We'll talk about pictures soon. You'll see an email on that. If you're brand new to hockey, ask questions is the only way you can learn about it. We want this to be as painless as possible. No question is a dumb question. Your coaches, if they don't have the answer to a question, they'll forward it on to me. And managers, if you don't know, it's okay. We're all in this together. We can all learn together. So just reach out to me. And if I don't know the answer, I have all kinds of people I can call. I've got several resources to get you an answer. So at this level, I wouldn't expect it to be a whole lot of deep questions about, what sort of forecheck are we going to run here at the Cougar Cub level. But it's going to be more, how do I do this? Or how does my kid skate? Am I tightening my kid's skates tight enough? Or am I doing this? These should be questions that we should easily be able to help you with. Okay. And then moving on to the next one. This one is key. So make sure your child, is rested, has had a meal before your practices. There's a couple earlier ones for a couple of the teams, and hydrated. And always remember to have them use the bathroom before they put their gear on. The gear it's an algorithm to get it off when they're on the ice and they look up at you and they say, I have to go potty. We look like, we've got the McDonald's eyebrows, and then we send them off the ice to find you, and we tell you they have to go potty. And then we all kind of look at each other like, wow, yeah, we forgot that. or they're just going to want to go potty because they want to take a break, and that's okay. They all use it. Can I have water or can I go potty? And primarily it's the can I go potty. It's distracting, but for them to skate off and you're feeling like, why am I opening the door for my kid? Why is my kid every week asking this? That you can figure that out at home, but for us, just know it's not a big deal. They're going to ask. So just try to help us with that. So when you're on we're on the ice and we drag your child over to the door and, hey, has to go to the potty. Just try to be as quick as you can, because we have, again, between 8 and 10 coaches out there to 10 to 30 plus kids. So it's that. Okay, so write your child's name on their helmet. Yes, so a piece of white hockey tape or white masking tape and a permanent marker. So what it does is helps us as coaches address your child by name, and it's hard to ask them their name to tell us their name when they've got their mouth guard in. And as I stated earlier, it's impossible to understand what they're saying. And then also, please label all of your child's things. That comes down to the pads and the gloves and everything. There's a lot of stuff that looks the same and it gets mixed up in the locker rooms and what. So that's that. Be attentive to your child's needs and be ready to help them off the ice if necessary. The kids are going to need to go to the bathroom, as I stated for the 50th time now, and others are going to cry, and that's okay. The coaches will do their best to encourage the kids to stay on the ice, but if they aren't successful, we call it the open door policy, right? We're going to try to just keep that door open. We're going to shut it, but it's unlocked at all times. If you need to get your kid off the ice, we'll do that. But we're trying to encourage them to stay on the ice and get through the hour. And quite honestly, it's not an hour. It's less than that, because it takes a few to get on the ice. And then we have a whole bunch of fun at the end. They don't even realize what they're learning on the ice. So to just be at the door in case something happens there. And then most importantly, be patient. Hockey is a very difficult sport to learn. You're not going to learn hockey necessarily in the first few years here. It's going to be a lot of skill development. Each child will progress at their own pace. And regardless of what anyone tells you, we cannot predict future NHLers at the Mite level. We want this to be fun for the kids and want them to come back each and every year until they realize their full potential. And that, quite honestly, I think about my 20-year-old son. He played all the way up. I coached a lot of years, and he got to Pee-wees, which was 12 years old, 13 years old, right in there. And then he made the top team. And I was like, he's going to the NHL. Finally, I can say this. No, he's not. He's not at the NHL. He played the next level. He made the AA team as well. But he was a better percussionist. And quite honestly, what we're doing out here is teaching the kids hockey, but we're teaching these kids how to be just great kids and give them a place to come and build friendships and provide something that's not an iPad, a gaming iPad, okay, I'll call it, but something for them to learn that is the best sport in the world. And we can't be more appreciative of the opportunity. So be encouraging. Again, please support your child. It's we talk about car rides from the arena to the house. Make sure you talk about how good they did, because they're going to remember all the bad things you tell them. If you tell them all the good things, they won't even remember the bad things, and they won't even remember to think about it themselves the next time they do it. So we're going to help them with their skill development. And if there's anything you are concerned about, you can email us directly and we'll help you with your child outside the encouragement side to always work hard and just be the best you can out there. Always ask them if they're having fun. This is our number one priority. And if they're having fun, they will want to come back. And it rolls forward. If they want to come back, then they're getting better. Their opportunities are endless. So that's that slide. Additional help, looking for a team manager for both teams. We've had some inquiries of what that entails, which we appreciate you guys stepping up and asking about that. I put a lot on here, but really the person is the liaison between the parents and the coaches. They coordinate gatherings, the jerseys, and getting the names screen printed on them. Some may not want to do that. They just want a jersey. It costs roughly $5 to have the names put on there. We don't do that up front because we don't know what size jerseys are for the kids and all that. And at every other level, we don't, we as in the board, they don't pay for that. So we don't do it at the club level either. I apologize about that. But it's a $5 spot to get your child's name on there. Typically, we put last names on there. But if you have a name like mine, which is Schoolmeisters, it goes from like one elbow up the back to the other side, and they shrink the font. I've been dealing with that all my life. And some places like to spell it wrong, so I get a brand new jersey, and I have 2 of them for every year I played. Those are some jokes. Sorry about that. But, help facilitate the COVID-19 tracking. Like I said, the temperature checking. We have really cool thermometers that get the job done. It's 12 sessions. Basically what you need to do is register as a volunteer with CYHA. You get put in that volunteer category, which we love all of our volunteers. There is a safe sport and a background check that needs to be done, but it's not too bad. You get reimbursed all the fees associated with getting the background check. The safe sport is not, that doesn't cost, but and the volunteer with CYHA doesn't cost anything. But the background check does, and we reimburse that. And then also, if there's some coaches, I had a couple messages from a few guys here this evening. There are a couple spots available. I don't want to put 15 coaches out there, but more the merrier is always better. But we will try to add 1 or 2 more just to make sure we've got that 3-to-1 ratio. 3 kids to 1 coach is kind of what we target. So go ahead and talk to me offline, call me, whatever you want to do. You can take a picture of this slide here before we go on to the next one to reach out to me, or you can find my information on the website as well. I think that's it. Yeah. So now I'm gonna take this slide down and stop sharing here, and we're gonna open up the question and answer period. So if you want to ask a question, and if others want to just listen in and learn about what is going on through other people's questions, that's totally fine too. And again, there's no dumb question. I would expect there to be all kinds of them, but if people want to drop off, that's totally fine too. But go ahead, and I don't have everybody's name on here, but if you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself, and we'll start answering them here for you. If not,
I had a quick question about the management position.
yeah.
Do you know if I volunteered as a manager for Cougar Cubs, can I use that towards volunteer hours for a different level?
Yeah, if you have children at a C or higher, you're required to do volunteer, and it's a $500. Yes, absolutely. I am presenting that and going to strongly support that credit gets given to the Cougar Cub manager.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Thanks.
Yep, you're welcome. Now we're going to have 100 managers, I hope, right? Teasing. Any other questions?
Hey, Tom, it's Jackie.
Hey, Jackie, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Hey, words can't describe.
Okay, that's good. I'm in for Carrie tonight because she had to work.
Yep.
Are you going to email all this out?
I am. I'm going to send this whole deck to the coaches, and then they can forward it out to their teams with any other additional information that they want to add specific to their team.
Okay. I just took notes for her, and I'll pass it on to her.
Perfect. Sounds good. Good to see you, Jackie. So for those of you that want to know how I know Jackie, I worked with her for 20 years at a company, and she taught me everything I know. So we'll just put that out there. Everything about hockey too, I'll say. No, I'm just teasing Jackie.
Yeah, right, Tom?
Any other questions? We'll count down a little bit.
Hey,
Someone's
Tom,
coming
Jen
on.
Bones here.
Hey, Jen.
I'm going to ask you a selfish question. Is it the same COVID form as my U8? So do I have to keep track of 1 link or 2?
It's 2 separate links. So each team has their own link. Yep. And it writes to a different spot in the spreadsheet so we can track it by team. Same
Okay.
questions, just different link.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Fisher.
Hey, Tom.
Yeah.
Hey, Derek Fisher. Just want to say, no question, just want to say thanks for your organization and your enthusiasm.
Oh, absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you for
Appreciate it.
pointing it out. Yeah, absolutely. You're welcome. Anybody else? Count down from 5, 4. I'm just joking. 3. I just don't want you all staring at me for the next 2 minutes here. But I'm going to be on the ice too. I will be at the arena this weekend, Sundays. I'll be helping with handing out jerseys and doing all the fun stuff there, getting the kids their stickers and trying to help the coaches out, getting out on the ice. Again, there's not a lot of time to do it, so we're going to ask for everybody to swiftly come through and get your kids ready to go, get temperature checks, and get them out on the ice as fast as we can. We're so excited to have you guys. Some of you are brand new, and we appreciate you jumping in and trusting us with your children, and also just trusting the association and helping us grow our association. We have, I can't tell you how excited we are that we have 65 plus kids, and there's still people wanting to get in during a pandemic. And I'm just happy that we have all of the enthusiasm that we do, because quite honestly, it was scary coming into this fall and trying to figure out how we're going to handle this. And we're just excited to be there for you guys as families and kids, but we want to keep the kids with pace at the level of learning hockey and all this other stuff. But you can't do it without being at the rink. So thank you again for everybody jumping on. Appreciate it. And we are going to record this, and it's recorded. I'm going to send it out, possibly post it on your team pages. So if you missed something, or if you have a spouse that didn't get to see it, it'll be out there in a YouTube link, and you can go back and watch it later on. So thank you, everybody. If there's any other questions, you can call me directly. If not, we'll sign off, and everyone have a good night. We'll see you Sunday. See you later.